Look at that grid.
Let me go check the sign.
I did once, that was
The third.
I'll tell Mandy. It's just not.
Don't put it in.
I gotta have that. I have to have
I said it cost me a thing. When did I say that meeting? I mean, I said the meeting and I forgot.
It's
your last free time out.
No, what is it, 7 stretch?
in support of
City limits. Since the Sweetwater Valley Dairy Water Park and Green Park.
Okay, if I could have your attention, it's 6:30. We'll call our Loudon City Council meeting to order. There's a couple of things here we need to take care of first. Apologies from Pastor Adam Cook. He could not be here tonight, so I'll take care of leading the invocation here in just a minute. And I also want to pass on our condolences to Megan. Her mother passed away on Friday, so in Ohio. So Megan, we're sorry about that. We'll certainly be praying for you and your family on that. Before we do, the young man that's leading our Pledge of Allegiance tonight, Mr. Aiden Chittenden, before he leads the pledge, I just want to, reason he's here, he wrote me a letter. These are the kind of letters you like to get, especially coming to City Hall and addressed to me, and I'll just read it. It says, "Dear Mayor Harris, I'm writing to you to ask for a slow children at play sign. I would like to be able to ride my bike and scooter on the road safely. I live at 1195 Mill Creek Drive, Loudon. I live on a corner lot, and you can put the sign there. Thank you very much. My name is Aiden." So, Aiden, thank you. I told him it took a lot of courage to write a letter. He didn't have no idea who he was writing it to, so thank his parents. And so I followed that up with, "Hey, would you like to lead our pledge?" So he's here tonight to do that. So Aiden, we thank you for your interest in safety, and you're not only protecting yourself, but you're helping the other children in that neighborhood as well. And we thank you for your concern and your parents, helping you with that, letter that you wrote for us. And we have a sign ordered, and when that gets in and gets all the locations, through the utilities done, we're gonna plan a sign, we're gonna put the sign up, Aiden's gonna help us dig the hole, and, we're gonna make sure that we include him in that as well. So that's some more good things coming up. But I'll lead our invocation, and after that, I'll have Aiden, lead us in our pledge of allegiance, okay? If everybody can stand. Let's pray together. Heavenly Father, we thank you for, the time we've spent here together tonight. I pray that you would give us clear minds and wisdom to make the best decisions for our community. We thank you for the time we've just entered, with Thanksgiving, and now we're into the Christmas season. God, we thank you for the goodness to us, your blessings each and every day that you give us. Thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ. Thank you for the birth and the death and resurrection of our Lord and Savior. Lord, we ask that you go with us now through this day, through this meeting. Give us clear minds, help us to be in unison. Lord, I pray that we give you the honor and praise for everything. In Christ's name, amen. Okay, Aiden? Go ahead, say it loud.
Attention, salute, flags.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. May be seated. Aiden, you join me right up here. Here's a gold coin for you, and a flag for you, a miniature flag. And this is for your parents. They can frame this. It's got the gold seal on it, got your name listed for leading our pledge tonight. Okay? Let's have our picture made, okay? With your mom. Thank you, Aiden. Let's get going. Okay, with that, I'll ask for roll call, please, Megan.
Mayor Harris,
Here.
Vice Mayor Dixon,
Here.
Councilmember Bivens, Councilmember Cardwell,
Here.
Councilmember Webster. 3 out of 5.
We do have a quorum. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming to the monthly meeting of the Loudon City Council. My name is Mayor Jeff Harris. I'd like to welcome everyone to our meeting tonight. Tennessee law gives every Tennessean the right to attend city council meetings and to observe how their government is doing business. And we appreciate that each of you took time out of your personal schedule in order to be here tonight. It's my intention as your chair that we create a space where everyone feels seen, heard, respected, and valued. You should have a copy of tonight's agenda. If you do not have one, you can pick one up at the table at the back of the room. This agenda is your guide to the topics that we're going to be discussing tonight. In order to conduct efficient business-like meetings, the council has adopted some specific rules to follow. Primarily, these rules are designed to keep the meeting moving, assure that all points of view are heard and considered, and to provide for common courtesy. In a few minutes, we'll come to the place on the agenda entitled Citizens Input, where anyone who is signed in to address council is encouraged to do so. We do ask that you wait until you've been recognized before you speak. After being recognized, approach the podium and follow 3 simple rules. At the beginning, state your name for the records, address all your questions to the chair, and avoid the use of improper language, profanity, or any other inappropriate conduct. Once the citizens' input portion of the agenda is complete, the council will proceed with the remainder of the agenda. You are welcome to stay and observe the meeting, but be advised that public comments may be limited. We ask that everyone remember we're doing the people's business here tonight, which is a very important responsibility for all of us. You can help us do this business by observing the rules we've established for our meetings. Again, welcome to the Loudon City Council meeting. We appreciate you being here tonight. With that being said, the next item on the agenda is adoption of the agenda, and I have one addition. The final change notice for Country Lane We need to add that to our agenda. We put that as number 5 on the resolution. That is in your packet now, but it was not prepared, when the agenda went out.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions about the change notice? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, motion carries. That'll be, number 5 under L on your agenda. Another honorable thing we get to do tonight, which is one of the benefits of being part of council and being the mayor, is to recognize important people in our community, and we get to do that tonight. Cobb's Auto Parts has been in business here for 50 years. Anybody that can have a business for 50 years should be, to me, is honorable. Some couldn't even last through COVID. You know, with the struggle people have with keeping employees and all the things that small business go through, we're gonna honor. This is not something this is kind of out of their comfort zone a little bit to be recognized. They're not a family that likes to see, they don't go for the limelight or anything like that, but this is a testimony for John and his family, and we want to recognize them tonight. So we have a resolution that I'm gonna read. And John, if you want to come up here with me on the. We'll stand up here. Resolution to City of Loudon, Tennessee, Certificate of Appreciation. Whereas Cobb's Auto Parts is celebrating its 50th anniversary of operation in Loudon, and whereas Cobb's Auto Parts has provided vehicle parts to several generations of citizens in Loudon, and whereas Cobb's Auto Parts has been in operation longer than any auto parts store in the city of Loudon, and whereas Cobb's Auto Parts has been a generous and steadfast supporter of the Loudon community, and whereas the city of Loudon desires to honor the Cobb family, owners of Cobb's Auto Parts, on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of their business in Loudon, now therefore I, Mayor Jeff Harris, do hereby award this certificate of appreciation and a key to the city of Loudon to John Cobb Jr., Sandra Cobb, John Cobb Jr. of Cobb's Auto Parts of the city of Loudon, Tennessee, signed by myself on this day, the 28th day of November, 2022. Appreciate you, John. Here's one for you and Sandra and John Jr. Would you like to say anything?
Yeah. Does this keep it?
It's actually a bottle opener.
Well, thank you, Jeff and council. It's very honorable for you to do this, and we appreciate, no business operates without customers, and we are privileged to live in the city of Loudon, where we know most people. And our customers are not, we don't have thousands and thousands of people. They're the same people, all the time. And we love them. I have been privileged to work there these whole 50 years. God has blessed me to where that I've been healthy enough. I've missed very few days in 50 years of working. And I have my son, John, who is actually running the place pretty much now.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, my president and chief executive officer, John Bentley, is back there, and he's wonderful, as you know. But no, I just appreciate this so much, and I want to thank the people of Loudon for supporting us. And I enjoy what I do, or I wouldn't be doing it.
Well, we thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Did I mess that?
I think so. All right, we're gonna take just a 5-minute recess. If anybody needs to leave, you're welcome to do that. So we'll take just a 5-minute recess and then we'll join back here in just 5 minutes, okay? So if you feel like, if you need to leave, you're free to leave if you just came for that. If you want to stay, you're encouraged to stay.
6:41. Jeff?
Never hit all.
Let me go look, since I got time. Thank you so much, sir. You did a great job. I heard you clearly.
Yeah. She said, I said, John Jr. twice. Just, that's something to leave. Baby, she's trying to get up here. Right. So, I just misspoke.
Yep. Thank you. As I told her, I said, I was like one of those little pointer dogs, but.
If anybody needs to address council and you hadn't signed in, we'll give you the opportunity to do that now if you want to. If anybody needs to address council, you can sign in and we'll take that. Thank you all. Sorry I misspoke, should have been John Senior. You got double recognized. I just got carried away.
Up or down?
Yeah. Yeah.
We got power tonight.
You got it.
It's not liking me, so. Yeah.
What the?
Thermostat.
Oh, okay.
Thermostat's ignoring us, so it's okay. I'm okay. Sam?
That's his Mark. Mark just, he puts
Tell
out
me to
heat
stop talking.
like a supernova.
So it was what, 7? Go back to 6-0.
We have 2 more minutes if you want.
Now we'll go ahead.
I'll move a portable van. That's all I care.
All right, looks like everybody that needed to leave has left, so it's okay. We'll go ahead and call the meeting back to order.
6:45.
6:45. Is there anyone that signed in to speak to council? Anyone?
I don't think so. I will double check.
Okay.
I should have done that before I did it. Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, we'll go to the next item on the agenda, which is approval of the minutes from regular meeting October 24th, 2022.
Mayor Harris, unfortunately, I could not be at that meeting, but I have reviewed the minutes along with Megan, and I believe they are in order.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from October 24th. Any questions? All those in favor say aye. Motion carries. Next item is ordinance on second reading, which is amending the 2022-2023 fiscal year budget. That was in the amount of $267,362 to purchase a 2022 Pierce mini pumper. This was in last year's budget, and this is just kind of a housekeeping thing. We had a public hearing on that again earlier with no comments, so, what's the pleasure of council?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, roll call please.
Vice Mayor Dixon?
Aye.
Councilmember Cardwell?
Aye.
Mayor Harris?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Next item on first reading is abandoning an open roadway, alleyway, and right-of-way east of Hackberry Street. This was covered in our workshop, and this is for the Lakeshore Loudon development. This was abandoned finished portions of Gay and Green Streets that form the blocks between Poplar and Hackberry. Survey prepared for the Tennessee Valley Title Company discloses unopened portions of Gay Street that extends towards the river from Hackberry. There's also a small unopened section of Gay Street that they would request that we abandon because of a sewer easement, because that's where an old sewer pump station was located earlier. So I'll ask for, what's the pleasure of council?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. First reading, any questions about it since the workshop? Anyone? Okay, roll call please.
Vice Mayor Dixon? Councilmember Cardwell?
Aye.
Mayor Harris?
Aye.
Thank you.
So I guess we'll need a public hearing.
Please, on 6/25.
6/25 on December 19th.
Thank you.
Okay, so that'll be December 19th at 6/25. Okay, next item is our resolutions. Authorizing sale of certain property at Center 75 Business Park, and I'll recognize our EDA Director, Jack Qualls, to introduce this.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. As presented at the workshop, this is the approximately 111 acres at the Center 75 Park that is up for sale. This property is for being purchased at $2.2 million. 40% of that would be for the city, and that 6% would go toward, that revenue would go toward the county as part of the interlocal agreement between the city and county with the Center 75 Park. This will be a manufacturing facility. At this time, I'll answer any questions you may have in regards to the project or the sale.
This sale was approved by county already?
It has been approved by county, yes, sir.
Okay.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion to authorize the sale of this property in Center 75. Do we have a second? Okay, we have a motion and a second for this sale to go through. All the other bodies have approved it, just waiting on our approval, correct?
EDA board will need to approve it at their December meeting,
Oh,
but
okay.
yes, the county has approved it.
Okay. All right, any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you. This next one, there's a change of the resolution, I think that was sent out, the piling agreement that was sent out, didn't have all the upgrades, I guess, to it that Councilmember Carville had requested. I think that has been included now.
Yes, sir. If you go to section 2, that was the language that was requested. We have added that language that would, the performance requirements for the company is to create 50 jobs year 5 and 100 jobs by year 7. And so each position that's not created will be $6,000 per position.
So I guess my question to Councilmember Carville, does that meet your request, like what you were looking
Yes.
for? Okay. All right, what's the pleasure of council?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions about what we're asking for and the change, the additions? I think they're pretty self-explanatory, in the resolution. Any questions? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Next is, resolution to establish an updated occupational safety and health program plan, devise rules and regulations to provide for a safety director and the implementation of such program plan. So they're asking council permission to establish an updated occupational safety and health program plan, devise rules and regulations, and to provide for a safety director and the implementation of such a program plan. So Director Brown, do you have anything to add to this?
No, sir. I think Manager Ross addressed this a couple weeks ago. It's every 7 years we have to update this.
Yeah.
This is nothing nothing's really changing.
Okay. All right, so it's more of a housekeeping
Yes, sir,
item
it is.
that comes up. Any questions about that? Apologize for Manager Ross not being here tonight. He had his son had an important interview, for his college, plans, so. As for council's pleasure, what's your pleasure in this
I'll make a
resolution?
motion.
Do we have a motion?
Second.
Have a motion and a second, any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 4 is another housekeeping item, something that comes up every year. It's approving the Loudon Section 125 cafeteria plan for employees. Asking for council's permission to recertify the City of Loudon Section 120 plan for our employees. It's the supplemental insurance like Aflac and those kind of things. What's the pleasure of council?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Do we have a motion and a second? Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item was one added to the agenda. It's the change order. I think it's included in your packet as well. And our engineer, Hogan, I think this is the last one. Is that correct?
Yes, it should be a summary change order.
Okay.
It's, the total that was relayed in workshop, with some background information itemized.
Okay, all right. Any questions about this since you just got it tonight that anybody need clarified? The amount is $88,690.07.
Has the work already been done, or is it scheduled to be done?
Predominantly it's been done. There's a remaining, about $6,000 worth of work. It addresses, a large part overages, between estimated quantities, prepared by the engineer of record and actual quantities, in the field. And line items that were not included, in the contract.
Does this pretty much close out everything done on Country Lane?
Yes, sir.
Or it won't be another?
I don't anticipate nothing.
Do you know where, maybe Melissa, where this puts us with the budget, what we had budgeted for Country Lane?
We are still in good shape. for
We are?
the
Okay.
budget overall.
Okay, that was my only question. Do I have any other questions for,
So you're saying that the work is, percentage-wise, how much has already been completed?
100% of the work is complete. There was extra work that is approximately $6,000 of what is itemized.
I just want to make sure in the future about putting the cart in front of the horse. Do we need to approve change orders prior to the work being done?
I agree and understand with that line of questioning. We've had some internal discussions actually about this, dealing with particularly estimated quantities versus actual quantities. You can imagine for this or for cleaner, the difference in estimated quantities can vary from what asphalt is used in the field. You're talking, very, very small tolerances over long distances. So there will likely be, in projects of this type, a difference between the contract value and the final value, either as an overage or an underrun quantity.
I guess the question comes up, when does it get approved?
When is it going to approve, but also does that require a change order on a misestimate? Because it didn't change scope of work.
That's the fair question. And so we're currently contemplating as we kind of develop here with a contract value of having a contingency in that for this type of overrun. Because now we're trying to work with a rigid contract value and an overage for things that are estimated.
Yeah, because contingencies, that's normal.
Oh, yeah. That's built into a contract normally.
So that's what I'm looking more at process. This one, we gotta pay the bill now. I'm just in the future to keep from having to come to council to approve what we think are gonna be normal, because an estimation is just an estimation.
what do we need to do to fix our process so you don't have to keep coming back and doing things like this?
And I think the contingency is the answer to that.
Most likely, I mean, that's the norm, is to have that. Okay.
Good feedback, good question.
I make a motion to approve change order.
Okay, we have a second.
I'll say,
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve change order for the Country Lane resurfacing project. Any questions, any more questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thanks.
Matters of information is the next item on our agenda, which doesn't require any action by council, but the first one I'm really excited about. We got notified, or I got notified Wednesday by TDOT before Thanksgiving. Jack Qualls and our EDA director we've tried for years to get this multimodal grant through TDOT, and we applied this year, and lo and behold, we got accepted. Our project got accepted. So Jack, I'm gonna let you take it from there and kind of introduce it a little bit.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. I just want to say, thanks to staff. I think Michael Hogan helped me with some of this too, identifying some sidewalks. A couple of years ago, we were required by TDOT to do an ADA transition plan. And basically, we went out into the city and we identified all the existing sidewalks and their condition. Kind of labeled the good, bad, and ugly, if you will. And then there were some portions of sidewalks that were non-existent. And so one of the sections was in front of the high school, at the entrance of the high school, by the splash pad, and all the way down until 72, there's a big gap of lack of sidewalk. And so we applied for the grant and staff, with staff's assistance, and we got the grant. It's a 90-10 match, 10 being the local match. It's $1,123,960 of grant to build that sidewalk, that portion. Also part of that project,
From where to where?
from the high school entrance all the way down to 72.
Oh,
So it's only on one side of the road, and it'll be on the splash pad side of the road. So students will be able not just to access the high school over to the middle school, but there'll also be a pedestrian crossing put there directly across from right in that Family Dollar area. So people will be able to get from one side of the road to the other without,
you
safety.
said crossing, what type of crossing?
It'll be a pedestrian crossing, hatch marked with hawk lights, flashing hawk lights that you can walk up and hit the solar panel lights. You can hit the button, they'll start flashing, so oncoming traffic will know
And where will that be?
somewhere right there around the entrance of the high school.
And one big reason for that now is right across the high school local nutrition. A lot of kids walk across the street to there and to Family Dollar, and there's no crosswalk. I mean,
Another thing about sidewalks is it will create a barrier between those pedestrians and the vehicle traffic. Right now, the posted speed limit on that road is 45. And so I've actually got a picture of a gentleman in a jazzy chair, almost straddling, he's almost touching the white line as he's driving down through there, just because there's not enough shoulder for pedestrians. And so this will be a real safety enhancement for this corridor.
How much flexibility do we have on design on it, now that the grant's been given?
Well, I'm not exactly, I understand what you mean. There's, it's basically creating 3,000 linear foot of sidewalk. So it'll be engineered, it'll go through the right-of-way process with TDOT. It'll be a lengthy process, just like most TDOT projects, I won't lie. But as far as the design, basically it's going from A to B.
yeah, we're getting those sidewalk for what, $100,000?
But it'll be, the project we bid out, there'll be a consultant that will design the project. It will go through the typical 3-phase TDOT project through preliminary engineering.
Okay.
It'll go to
So
right-of-way
we have
phase.
input during that design phase then?
For some aspect of the design, yes.
Okay.
what's the time frame, maybe, on this, what we're looking at?
Since we've been awarded, we'll wait for notice to proceed, and then we'll bid the project out to get the engineers on board, and we'll start designing the project. And then we'll the right-of-way design, I'm not gonna act like it's not a big deal. The right-of-way does take, anywhere from 8 months to a year and a half, depending on the owners, the property owners that will be, you know, their willingness to participate or their willingness to not participate usually dictates how that goes. I mean, even utilities has over a minimum of 120 days of reviewing those plans before we can do anything, so it's a lengthy process.
You know, we tried when they widened in front of the high school.
Oh, yeah.
We tried to get sidewalks added in, and TDOT wouldn't do it, so that led us to try this.
That helped this process.
Well, that
Always.
Well,
caused
we
us
kind of
to
felt
look-
like they owed us, you know, to be
Yeah.
honest with you a little bit.
Yeah.
There is some topography challenges there, that me and Mr. Hogan have looked at, that we're gonna try to fix with this as well. So we're gonna have to build that up to create this sidewalk.
this right there, tennis courts and.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we're thinking this through, that you're saying the sidewalk's gonna go up on the side of the pool and stay on that side of the road all the way up to 72.
That's correct.
My concern is, if anyone walked up that sidewalk, where would they be going? And would it cause people to continue to try to cross the highway? To me, it'd make more sense if the sidewalk at one time would be on the other side of the road where the businesses and the houses and all that are.
And we
Not cause
look,
people to always cross.
yeah, so we looked at a 3-phase approach here. That's phase 3. We actually looked at phase 2, bringing the sidewalk on up from 11 up to this area. But phase 3 was actually looking at the opposite side of the road. You know, the good part about this is we're not dealing with a whole bunch of different property owners. They're not businesses, which just makes it more expensive for the project. So this is one reason we looked at this side and creating that pedestrian where people could go up to the point of safely crossing that. One of the things you have is when you get out to 72, you have wider shoulders. And so it is more of a safe travel for pedestrians at that point. So they're not just walking to the end of the line. At that point, you have, you know, 10-foot shoulders that they can access.
Hey, I'd like to also add to that is the fact that people walk on the walking trail at Liberty religiously. There's a lot of people that use that. Now they will add this 3,000 feet. They'll go to that dead end and come back with a lot of pleasure.
That was another factor we took into consideration. Adding more walkability. People that start downtown will have sidewalks just about all the way
I
to.
mean, we look at different corridors. I mean, we looked at trying to, you know, it's a scoring mechanism that TDOT uses in order to get these grants. When you get off that state route, you start losing points. And so we looked at maybe creating a whole circular path around the middle school and tying up Steaky Road and trying to finagle all that. But at that point, our grant was so big we couldn't afford it, A, and B, wasn't gonna score as high as if we went and started with something here and then maybe we can build on that later.
When would the matching have to take place?
It's a reimbursement grant, and so you pay for it up front, you get reimbursed in the back end.
In our country.
So when would that be? When would we have to give the 10%? I'm just saying, in what budget cycle will we have to do?
So it'll be during your next budget cycle.
Yeah,
So we're talking about next year's budget, we have to allocate the over 100 grand.
You'll be allocating the $1 million, and then you will be getting paid in chunks as you spend it. You submit the city goes through the process, you submit those invoices and get them resubmitted at, you know, throughout the entire project. It's not a one-time kind of big chunk of money that you're not, you know, putting your 10% down and expecting it at some point. You're continuing to reimburse that you have to pay for the whole grant up front, and then throughout that process, you get reimbursed.
That's pretty much typical with their.
Right, so we would have, you know, the engineering expenses up front. That would be something that we could invoice for and get reimbursed. Obviously, the right-of-way acquisition, that'll be an early expense and it'll be an early submission for reimbursement. And then, of course, then you have the biggest chunk is when we actually, you know,
Get it out.
Construction.
Get it out, right.
The construction aspect will be your largest sum.
Which, you know, could be a couple budget cycles from now.
Possible.
Which, like Jack said, we looked at, let's just have a sidewalk all the way down Sticky Street, which would have been great, you know, but we ran out, I mean, our grant was too big. It wouldn't cover it. So let's do it in sections and maybe we can apply for, you know, that next time. Who knows, maybe get that to make a full. corridor.
And it's not to say that the other two phases, you know, can be, changed around during the next cycle if we apply for the similar grant. I mean, there's nothing, I've seen, in the past, the city of Kingsport paid 14 miles going through this process over 20 years. So it's important to have a plan in place and just go out there with a, you know, small hammer and a big rock and chip away at it over a course of time. Because these dollars, like I said, they're 90-10, and you don't see a lot of grant funds that are that generous.
Where can we find a copy of that plan you're talking about?
I'm sorry, what's your plan?
Were you just talking about having a plan with phase 2 and 3? Where is that plan?
It's just on a map. I'm sorry, I don't have the visual here tonight. It was an exhibit we submitted. Yes, we'll have it in your.
Yeah, we teed it up here, tied it this year, just as a matter of information, but we thought we'd put it on December workshop as well.
Because you have to actually vote to accept the.
Yeah.
Because there will be a contract associated with it, and at that time, I will have that for your review. I apologize, I didn't know I did have it today.
So
No,
we-
and I'm just, once again, I'm thinking process. So when we were coming up with phase 1, 2, and 3, how do we get public input for something like that?
So basically, we can, you have a Parks and Rec department that could have access, I guess, to an or to that transition plan and, or possibly a Greenway. At one time, there was a Greenway committee that no longer meets, I don't think. There's a countywide plan, you know, a countywide Greenway committee. But they no longer meet. But you do have, I think, the makings of a recreation board, is my understanding, that could possibly lead that charge.
Okay, I'm just, once again, process of where does the public get their input to say what their priorities would be to how we want to focus our grant efforts in the future?
Yeah, or even coming to a workshop. I mean, that would also be, I guess, an avenue for that process.
Okay.
You also may, be reminded that sidewalks can be incorporated with greenways. As Jack just mentioned, we used to read about the greenway, so if the greenway ended here, you can get on the sidewalk and then score high for a recreation grant if that sidewalk attaches to your greenway on the other end. So when you think about it ending at 72, I think about Green Acres Lexington Park. Eventually, there's gonna be a time when I'm dead and gone, that sidewalk needs to go all the way to Philadelphia. So this is the beginning of that. Sidewalk greenway, they score high, they do well together, so it's huge.
No, and I have no issue with there. I'm just looking what the master plan is, to see all these little pieces fit into a bigger plan that we're trying to accomplish, as opposed to a piecemeal here, a piecemeal there.
I mean,
There is a
there's
ADA
a plan.
transition, there is an ADA transition plan. I think it was housed at Public Works, but I'm not sure.
Well, that's the ADA transition. We're talking greenways, we're talking, I mean, there's several different programs.
Yes.
I want to make sure that we all have it in a master plan, and that we're doing it on the priorities of what the public would want.
I mean, there's a plan been talked about for years to connect, Legion with Liberty up here.
I mean, this is part of the issue. If you go from Loudon High School to, I think it was Robertson Springs Road, they closed that section, next to the gas station, and put a utility pumping station there. The Greenway crosses right there, so this is a leg that's really needed. It'll help us, it's tremendous news.
No,
So here, that's gonna go. We then attach, on the other end of Robertson Springs, we attach a walkway that becomes.
yeah, no, I'm all with you there. I'm just looking
Yes, sir.
for what the master plan is, so that we know that we're all focusing our efforts towards, one cohesive outcome instead of pieces that might be unconnected later.
Okay, any other questions for Jack? Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
I mean, it was great news. And, I agree with comments about just making sure it all fits together.
Now, I'm just looking on, when do we get the input on that grant development? Was that done with council?
As far as putting in for this grant, submission for this grant, I think it came as, they opened grants up and it came to me and Ty, and I don't know who all it went distributed to.
I just want to see that council can get their input in the next grant development instead of it plopped in front of us and just say, here it is, we want it. We'd like to have input and a little citizen input in it also. Not saying that this work was bad, okay, don't get me wrong, okay? I think it's great, I just wanna make sure that we do have that opportunity to get our input into the next development process.
Okay. All right, the next, is that, any other questions on that, comments?
So let me just say,
Okay.
so we're gonna workshop this in December then?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it just came up tonight, Ty listed it here, cause it just kinda came through the last minute kind of thing, so. All right, the next item is, doesn't need, any council action. It's the low bid for the purchase of fuel on November 15th was received from Valley Oil Company for the amount of $28,640. That was unleaded at $2.85 and undyed diesel at $4.31. So again, no action needed by council. Department reports. Mark, you got a parade coming up. You wanna talk about that?
Actually, Christmas and Loudon begins this Friday night with a meeting with the lunch with Santa on Saturday. Next weekend is Christmas parade, lights in the park. Director Brubaker and I have finally got together on keeping the park open so you can travel through and not have to get out of your car and view the lights. And it's really coming together. We're not done. We actually don't finish that project until probably December the 26th and after Christmas. So we add lights each day. So if you go tonight, you're gonna see something different Friday. It's really a work in progress. The guys are even working tonight. We work some evenings so we can see what it looks like at night. It's a big investment for the city of Loudon, but it's also a big program. It's one of our bigger programs, and we're very appreciative of the mayor and council in the past, and the Loudon Utility Board, and the departments that helped us put this together.
Thank you, Mark. And you got the big star lit.
Big stars, but
Yeah. Director Brubaker, you have anything to mention? Melissa, you have anything?
No, sir, thank you.
All right. Engineer Hogan, you have anything else?
No, sir.
All right. Director Brown, you have anything? I think that's everyone. Megan, if you got all the things you need in the
I
minutes?
believe so.
Okay. Council member reports. Vice Mayor Dixon, we'll turn over to you.
We got a Loudon Regional Planning Commission. We got an applicant for site plan approval at 1290 Monterey Drive from Chuck Morgan, from CMH Homes. That was approved by the Planning Commission. And then we had the application for site plan review, from David Hutchins, at 830 Natalie Boulevard. That was also approved. That's all we had.
Okay. All right, I don't know of any other council member that may have a report. There'll be several appointments coming up next month, in the December meeting. The swearing-in ceremony will be on December the 12th at 6 o'clock. That will be done by Mayor Bradshaw, so he'll be swearing everyone in December 12th, but prior to the workshop at 6 o'clock. So,
Will we have a regular meeting that night, or?
we'll have a workshop meeting that night, yeah.
Workshop.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And,
that's at 6:30 or 6?
we're gonna swear in, it's gonna be at 6.
6.
And then the workshop will be at 6:30
Okay.
with the new council.
Just come at 4 and stay.
Yeah. There are some birthdays to or some anniversaries, and you probably have some birthdays in a minute.
I got it.
Bobby Bingham, IT department, 1 year for Mr. Bingham, appreciate him. Bill Collis in facilities and maintenance, 2 years. I'm sure you depend on him a lot more now since you lost some help there. He's been an asset to that department. Trey Clemmer, Loudon Police Department, 3 years. Brandon Hill, facility and maintenance, he's been here 8 years. Anthony Garner and Mike Brubaker came the same day. Did you know that? I guess you did. Anthony's in the codes department, 24 years, and our public safety director, Mike Brubaker, 24 years. Thank you, Mike. And all those other city workers for their commitment to our city and our community. LUB, David Garner, customer service, 21 years. And then our director of human services, Jason Brown, 26 years. Thank you, Jason, for all you do for our city and utilities. I think we have some birthdays.
We do. Administration Department, Steve Fritz, November 28th. Police Department, Trey Clemmer, November 3rd. Kenny Ridings, November 17th. Fire Department, Mike Brubaker, November 4th. David Hall, November 19th. And Mark Harvey, November 17th. Public Works Department, Sean Bivens, November 23rd. Kenny Guider, November 30th. Recreation Department, Brooks Surratt, November 3rd. Electric Department, Brody Houston, November 6th. The Water Department, Charles Beatty, November 19th. Water Plant Department, Jason Brandon, November 21st. Kyle Talent, November 20th. Tony Thompson, November 27th. Customer Service Department, Emily Green, November 7th. Utility Board, Pino Campbell, November 29th. And Tim Dixon City Council, November 19th.
Happy birthday.
Almost
Last but not least.
Who is that last?
Yeah.
straggler.
I do wanna, I know Councilmember Bivens and Councilmember Brewster are not here tonight, wanna thank them publicly for their service, on city council and Councilmember Bivens, her service, that she's committed to on solid waste, committee, which is a committee that not a lot of people wanna serve on. Thank her for doing that the last 4 years, and, they wish they were here to be recognized, but, they're not here tonight, but do wanna publicly thank them for their service to our community and to the residents here for their service to city council. So, anything else needs to be brought up, any from council, anything? Okay, thank you, this meeting is adjourned, thank y'all for coming.
7:18.
I knew I couldn't be. Yeah, right. No way.